Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch. On a gorgeous morning, sunny. And in a second, you'll see a major change. Monumental. So, my friends, as usual, welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. Drink it if you got it. Oh, it's good. Do you notice the monumental change this morning? Do you notice something's missing? Is it obvious to you that for the first time in God knows how long, I'm in a t-shirt outside in the morning? No sweatshirt, no hoodie. It's glorious. It is absolutely glorious. Wow. I wish you could all be here and experience this. It is so nice. And you know, I had this sweatshirt on when I was out here this morning setting this up. It was a little chilly, but as the sun started to come up and started to warm up here, let's call it a sunroom instead of a screen porch, I said, you know, I don't need this stupid sweatshirt. And lo and behold, it is gorgeous. It's beautiful. Tuka says, question, Mitch is manipulating the weather? Well, I didn't want to let on that I have these supernatural powers. I wish I could, Tuka. I wish, honest to God, I wish I could manipulate the weather. So welcome, my friends. Good to see you this morning. How we doing? 88 people so far. Good, people are coming in. People are coming in, and typical morning for me. Got a little sun, moved around a little bit, and waited, and watched TV, and watched all the news I could stand, and I can't stand much of it. Turned over to YouTube, and for some reason my feed on YouTube is so much news. And I don't watch all that much of it, but they seem to think I want to know everything. And so I watched the politics, and I'm a little bit encouraged by some of the things that I've been hearing, and I'm also a little, I guess you could call it, cautiously optimistic, with the emphasis on the word cautious. I don't think the turmoil's done yet, but I think at least we're moving in the right direction. So I'm going to continue to try to be optimistic about that. And we'll see. We'll see how much of all of this nonsense that's being exposed, and that's the best part, is all the corruption that's been going on that we've known about, and all of the lunacy that we've known about is being exposed now. It's like turning over a rock and all the critters just scatter. I hope they do scatter. I don't know where they're going to scatter to. They're still going to be here, and they're still going to be who they are. And they're still going to find some way to steal our money. I'm pretty sure of that. But on a lighter note, my friends, on a lighter note, not to get off on that this morning, I did some more research. I did some looking into these Nellie's eggs, and I've got more positive feedback from you guys on them. And it seems, I mean, for all outward appearances and even some inward appearances, that they're a pretty good company. A pretty good company. They have an arrangement with many, many, many small farmers. And have managed to assemble a conglomeration of enough of these to supply what is a very large supply of eggs every day to outlets all over the country. I can't believe I'd never heard. I can't believe I've never heard of them, but I hadn't. I live such a sheltered life, I guess. But I did that little video yesterday because everybody kept saying, we want to see you in the kitchen, Mitch. We miss you beating your eggs. So I beat my eggs for you yesterday. Hope you enjoyed that. And I was pleased with them, and I'm going to continue. If I can find them, I'm going to continue to buy them. I haven't found a better egg ever, I don't think. I mean, there are some local farmers, evidently, that supply some of the local stores with eggs in small quantities. We have a grocery store around the corner from me called Downtown Produce, and the name says it. It's mostly produce, plants. They do have a meat department, but they're very expensive, and I've never been happy with the quality of what I bought. But they do focus on produce. All the vegans and vegetarians shop there and fill up their shopping carts with tiny little plastic bags full of hundreds of different ingredients to take home and spend an entire day constructing their healthy salad and whatever else they eat, and kind of shy away from the meat. There's not a lot of focus on meat in that store, but they do have these eggs. And when I go in there looking for eggs, I'll see maybe 5 or 6 dozen with a obviously small-time label stuck on the flat, and they claim to be, local, pasture-raised, and they sell for $8, $9, $10 a dozen. They're very expensive, and sometimes they're there. Most of the time, if I were to go in there, they're not. That store has very little for me anyway, so I hardly go in there. I hardly go in there anymore. But it's a big store, and they've got a deli counter where they make sub sandwiches and some eating areas outside, and they have an incredible assortment of cellophane bags full of different kinds of nuts and candies and every other kind of oddball, hip, trendy snack foods, but their prices are high. And that's about as close as I've come to seeing anything other than Aldi's. And every once in a while, Aldi's would, a couple of dozen of some oddball kind of eggs with an oddball label would show up in their refrigerator, maybe locally sourced, but very expensive even for Aldi's. So I haven't found it. These Nellie's eggs, I'm going to keep going. If I find out anything bad about them, you guys will be the first to know. But so far, so good. I did see, was it on the news or was it on a YouTube video? I think it was on the news this morning. Egg prices came up in a political sense. And the news story said that the federal government is, and I imagine under our newly led Department of Agriculture, which falls in the purview of RFK, Health and Human Services, I believe that all of the FDA and USDA and those agencies fall under his purview. They are going to be launching programs specifically designed to get egg prices back down in a big hurry. And these programs are going to include things like more legitimate research into the so-called bird flu, subsidies, government subsidies for small farmers that produce like the Nellie's eggs and things like that. And another thing that I'm not too excited about, they want to dramatically, at least in the short term, increase the number of eggs that are imported into this country. The goal is to get the egg supply up, because everything is supply and demand. Supply and demand manipulated by propaganda and schemes. And that's how the world works. That's how it's always worked, and it always will work. And every time you pull up to a gas pump, you're a victim of it. It was 2 weeks ago. Gas prices are going down. Gas prices are the lowest they've been in the way. Never time out. Never mind. They're going back up again. Yes, and that never lasts. And they're still at the same place they've been, about $1.50 a gallon higher than when Trump left office 4 years ago. We are sheep, my friends, sheep. Absorbing and listening to all of the propaganda thrown on us every day in the form of news and other information. Maybe even some of the things I say are just repeating some of that crap that I buy into, because I suppose I'm a sheep as well. A sheeple. Well, look at this. Look at this. Last night's entries in the chat did not get lost today. And Tuka was the first one in. Hi, Tuka. Good evening or good morning to you. Well, it's afternoon over there in Finland, I guess, already. But good to see you at 8:50, right after I put the stream up. And Smoothie 420 came in. Rick, Charger Mopar, Mike Seeley from Tampa, how you doing? Lori was here last night. Aunt B was here last night. Lady June, it was morning over there in Europe. But 12:19 a.m. here. Bob Black, the first of our insomniacs at 3:36 a.m. I was fast asleep anyway, Bob. Good to see you. Terry Sue, I just watched Lewis' interview with Vasquez on Killshed. It was really good. Lewis is so sweet. Lewis is sweet. Lewis is a nice guy, unassuming, humble, which I think is a very important trait to have. Yes, I'm proud of myself. I think a lot of myself, but I'm still a humble guy. I have humility. Sometimes you may not think so, but I do. I don't have a head this big. I don't want to be the focus of all attention everywhere all the time. Most of my humor, if you've noticed, is self-deprecating. Been like that all my life. And I don't want to change. And Lewis is like that. I think Kelsey's like that. That's what I admire about him. But speaking of Lewis is going to be a guest on Morning Coffee with Mitch, one of the rare and few for a specific purpose. And he's going to be on with me Sunday morning. He works, so weekends are best for him. And I would say about a half an hour into the show, after I get done saying hi to people, I'll bring Lewis in, not for as extensive an interview or anything, but just to discuss one particular experience that he had, which I think would be very interesting. And I've got some questions I want to ask him about that. And maybe a 10, 15-minute visit, unless it goes further and people have questions for him. But about 10 o'clock Sunday morning, we'll have Lewis from New York. And Lewis will be, he's the only New Yorker I know, and it doesn't sound like he's from New York, especially an Italian New Yorker, for God's sakes. You should sound like you're from Brooklyn. Yo, Adrian. You know, I mean, come on. Well, I know that was Philadelphia, but it's very close. Very close. Only 90 miles. At any rate, Lewis is going to be here. Lewis is going to be here. Terry Sue. Make sure you watch. Michael Pregler, probably back from the gym. Hiya, Michael. Good morning. Greg Smith made it all the way to Texas. Truck on, my friend. See you tonight. And that brings up the fact that tonight is Thursday, and our private community live stream and panel will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. Hope to see you all there. Hope to see you all join in. Hope to see some new people that haven't joined us in the panel. Get to know each other, to talk to each other. And some ladies, more and more ladies are coming in. I love it. I love it. So we'll see you tonight at 7. Steve Studley says, good morning, Mitch. Wayne Herman, good morning to Mitch and all the Mitchfits from Lake Gaston, North Carolina. Good to see you. Francine from Montreal, Francine Bourgeois. Good morning, Francine. And it is morning. You guys are here in the morning. Mike Seeley, Sr., is with us. Good to see you, Mike. Good to see you. How you doing? Rick, working on his truck. Put that engine in that truck, Rick, so you don't keep tripping over it. Patty Bolden says, good morning, Smoothie back. Rick back. Charles Faircloth, good morning to you. Lori, y'all, it's almost time. Yes, it is. It is. It is time. And I chimed in and said good morning, just to let you know I'm actually here and ready to go. CB Carmax, good morning, meaty folks. CB, how are you, my friend? Always great to see you. You know that. How's everything? I hope maybe you come in the panel tonight. I haven't seen you in one of those in a few weeks. Always enjoy that. And Lori I think she was wondering if I was around, because no sooner did I chime in and say good morning that she says, what did she say? Oh, thank goodness. Charles Faircloth. And right afternoon in Sussex, United Kingdom. I love it. I love it to have people from all over the world around here. This is great. This is great. Lori says, good morning, everyone. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Lori, that you're in the throes of winter. I don't know how much. We have 2 more days of February, then it's March. But, you know, March is still considered winter. We've had some brutal Marches down here and some mild ones. But today it's going to be in the low 80s here. I'm in a T-shirt, and I'm in in case you haven't noticed, I'm in my meat, my famous Eat Meat T-shirt that my kids bought me years ago. And some of the T-shirts, interestingly enough, that they have bought me over the years, I've worn out. I've just worn them out. So I've gone on to Amazon and bought myself new ones of the same shirt, because it's kind of like my trademark, wearing some of these shirts. And I don't talk about it a lot, but I do have Old Guy Carnivore T-shirts, and the links are to the merchandise stores in the description, and I don't promote a lot of that stuff, but I did it because people wanted it. People asked me to do it. Lori says the 4 days of spring was great. It's coming. Next thing we'll all be complaining about how hot it is. How hot it is. And we here in Florida, we'll start dodging hurricanes. Dodging hurricanes again. And I'm feeling pretty good. I still have a little bit of phlegm, and occasionally I do a little cough, but it's not the same kind of cough that it was. It's not one of these coming from way down in your lungs kind of a cough. It's just a little throat kind of the final remnants of goodbye flu. And anybody that's had this thing, and I didn't have it all that bad, but it just wouldn't go away. Like a bad relative that moves in with you. Doesn't want to leave. Smokey Bear Lover, good morning. And we got that 9:30 yet? No, and I'm already 20 minutes behind, but that's okay. That's okay. Good morning, Smokey Bear Lover. Scott Elliott, good morning to you. Thomas, Target Prime Rib, good morning. And Trina Mitchell, good morning. And still not to 9:30 yet. Claudia Burkick, good morning, all. Nice array of emojis there, my friend. Tuka at 9:29, Scotter at 9:29, Smoothie at 9:29, and the winner, oh man, how appropriate, how appropriate. Lewis L., right on the money, young man. Congratulations, ding, 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 you did it today, followed immediately by Robbie Autry. Good morning, Mitch, and all you Mitch fits. Rick chimed in, Lady June chimed in. Tina Schweikerath, good morning, Tina. How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Jerry Gordon chimed in. Edward Renner. Scotter, yes, 8:30. Dixie Scott's with us. Richard Williams from Copper Hill, Tennessee. Aaron, Booby Goats is here, still at 8:30. Lori at 8:30. Tuka. The question of the day, how are you, boss? I'm going to be going back to my stock answer, Tuka. If I was any better, it would be illegal. It would be illegal. And I hope you all enjoyed getting me back in the kitchen, turning the camera on yesterday, and actually making a bacon and egg video. I wish I could give you more variety. I wish my life was more exciting. I wish I could make videos of me snowboarding in Colorado and skydiving over the jungles of Africa and all of those things that make the fodder for videos that get lots of views and incredible stuff. There was a time when I could have done that. I could have, in my adventures, flying my own airplane all over the place and going to exotic islands and having a big boat and sailing everywhere and doing all that stuff. But that was years and a lifetime ago. I wasn't as healthy back then. I was heavier back then. I was always fighting for my whole life to try to stay thin. As I got into my 40s and 50s, like so many of us, it started to catch up. This poisoning from these stupid seed oils and sugars and plants, kidney stones, oxalate poisoning, eczema, autoimmune diseases, little arthritis here and there. And yet I always tried to eat healthy and be low carb. And I had an exciting life. I have photographs. I could show you, I have thousands and thousands of photographs that I could show you from some of my adventures, but that's not what I'm about here. And my life has taken a complete flip and a complete turn into a very simple, not exciting life at all. And I contemplate, I think about that, and I say, well, maybe that's the reason why I can do this carnivore lifestyle thing. Because I'm not out there in the world immersed in all the temptations, morning to night, the triggers, having people around me constantly in my face, stuffing their face full of things that I'm addicted to and trying so hard to fight the cravings. And that might be, and if it is, it's sad, because if succeeding on carnivore requires you to become like Mitch, an old man hermit with very little social interaction other than on YouTube and a kind of restricted life. Most of my travels these days seem to be involved in going shopping. If that's what it takes, then that's depressing. I'm sorry. And it certainly doesn't give me the fodder or subject matter to make fabulously exciting videos on YouTube that may go viral. It's a conundrum. A conundrum. I always like that word, conundrum. It's ironic. Would I trade it? Would I trade this life now for any iteration of my previous life? Looking back, not on your life. No, no, no. I love feeling this way. And I love what I'm doing right now. And I love you guys. And it's enough for me. And I'm content. And I am able to say, life is good. Life is good. And I thank all of you for that. Jeff Johnson, the name you know. You know, every time I say Jeff Johnson's name, I always say the name you know after it. And I don't know how many of you know why. And I even have Jeff now. Hi, Mitch, it's Jeff Johnson. You know the name. And just as an aside, Eddie Murphy made a movie called The Distinguished Gentleman 35 years ago, a long time ago. And he played an aspiring politician. And his name was Jeff Johnson in the movie. And evidently, the senator or congressman from his district got run out of Washington on a scandal, on some kind of a sex scandal. And they had to have an election to fill his seat. And Jeff Johnson decided he could run because he had name recognition. And, as he's driving up and down the streets, I think it must have been Detroit or something like that, in his car with the big bullhorn on top, he would be talking, it's Jeff Johnson. Vote for Jeff Johnson, the name you know. And for some reason, that just stuck with me. I can never get that movie out of my head. And along comes Jeff Johnson, and the first words out of my mouth were, Jeff Johnson. It's the name you know. And it has become part of my shtick here. So one thing, Jeff, I will never forget you, my friend. That's for sure. For sure. And I need to dig up a copy of that old movie and watch it again, because sometimes watching some of those movies that did something or said something or showed you something that stuck with you for life that you never forget is really funny and a nice little walk down memory lane. So if you can find that movie, The Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy, it really is a nice story. It's a nice story. It's the story of what starts out as a con man that finally ends up faced when he sees the reality of what he's gotten himself into. He actually changes into a man of integrity and tries to do the best he can. And it's one of those heartwarming stories. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. The Distinguished Gentleman. It also exposes and takes a real look at so much of the corruption that goes on in Congress. Things that they pretty well nailed right on the head. Pretty well nailed. Hello, Suarez. Good morning. How you doing, Pamela? Listen, if you got questions for me, throw QQQ in there, or 5 Qs, or however many Qs you want. You think it'll attract my attention? I will get to them. I'll get to them. And, I hope you hang around long enough. And if not, we'll get to them the next time. I found this is the only way I can do that. I can either come on here and just search for questions and not interact with the chat, or I can join the conversation and read what you guys write. And I kind of like that better. I don't impose a time limit on it, but I do know that 2 hours is a little too much. I was told that by a couple of commenters yesterday who left comments on this video, on the replay, who basically said, I just can't watch 2 hours, Mitch. You've lost me. See ya. I said, okay, what am I going to do? There's no law says you have to watch the whole 2 hours. That's for sure. And people come and go. throughout this time. And there are so many people that come and go that I have no idea are even there because they don't chat. They don't put their names. They don't type. They're watching on a Roku TV. They don't want to get out their cell phone and log in or go to a computer so they can chat. They don't want to be part of it. They're spectators, like I am on every YouTube video I watch. You don't see me commenting. You don't see me. I watch Ken Berry's live stream, at least a small part of it every once in a while, to see what he's up to and how he's doing. But you never saw me put an entry in his chat. I am an observer. So for those of you out here who are just sitting back there watching, there must be some of you, there's 140 people in here. Welcome to you too, even though I don't know who you are, what your motive is, whether you don't like me, you do like me, I entertain you or not. Welcome. You're all welcome here. And if you have a way to do it, join in the chat. It's a great community. It's a great community. Lori's still here. We have Meatitudes. Good morning. And Lewis L. says it's another beautiful day. Fun morning with Mitch. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you so much. Good morning, Gary No Slow. We're still 9:31. Holy cow. We're still just getting started, but there's so much of it. Bacon in the oven, says Scotter. Yeah, I've got some bacon and eggs waiting for me. I did eat those Nellie's eggs yesterday. And I did have somebody that came on, and a comment on that video said, could you make another video where you actually do a side-by-side comparison of the yolks from the Nellie's eggs to the yolks from those other eggs from Sam's Club? And I respectfully declined. I said, no, I'm not going to make another video just to show you how much more yellow they are. I'm telling you, they were much more yellow. You're going to have to take my word for it or try the experiment yourself. I don't know what people think sometimes. They think that these videos just pop up out of midair. It took me 2.5 hours. The minute I got done yesterday with this live stream and got all the equipment taken down, and rested and sat just for 5 or 10 minutes to collect my thoughts. I'm in the kitchen because I wanted to get it out yesterday. And from the time I say, good morning, everybody, it's me in the kitchen, to when it finally gets uploaded and checked for copyrights and everything by YouTube can be 2 to 3 hours. And it went all the way to after 3 p.m. when it was finally released. And I wanted to release it yesterday because it was relevant and a subject I was talking about yesterday. And I am gonna try to do a few more videos. I know people like them. I got some views on it, 3,000-4,000 views, which wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. But it's a relevant subject, the egg shortage. And I hope that the government, I hope that they actually can do something to help. That just won't open up another avenue for other people to glom on and figure a way to steal government money for themselves, which seems to be the way it always goes. Tuka, my other mama's in the house, Dixie Scott. How many moms could you need? Rick says, Mitch has conquered the flu. I have. I'm completely over it. Completely over it, starting to do some exercising, doing some push-ups and squats, and I might start to do some resistance bands, might go for a walk, but I just want to keep moving. Carnivorous Cat Mom is here. How you doing? Deborah Wisegow. Claudia Burkick is back. And let's see who I haven't said hi to, and we'll get on to my few show notes that I have. I'm looking for questions, and there was Tuka's question. Mitch is manipulating the weather. I wish that I could. I wish that I could. Jemmett says, good morning, Mitch and Mitch Fitz. And Aaron is still here. Who is this? Nita Haney. Good morning, friend. Had my coffee and ready for time with you. It's going to be in the 70s here. Good morning, Nita. How are you? Good to see you. Pamela Suarez is here. Hi, Pamela. Max D. Good morning. It's a great morning for a nice ribeye along with Monic. What is that? Coffee and friends. Well, okay. All right. I'm about 9:35. I have made it to being 1/2 hour behind in the chat, so I see somebody I haven't said hi to, I will bring it up, but I'm going to start speed reading through the chat. Maureen coming. Good morning, Maureen. How are you? Robbie encourages me to light up my cigar. Every time I do that, I lose some of you. Wow, that's such a shame. Sometimes I say, maybe I shouldn't do it. It's a shame to lose friends. None of us should lose friends because we are who we are. But that's the way of the world. So much judgment. So many judgmental people. My way or the highway, my friend. Not from me, you'll never get that. You do whatever you want. And if I say things that go way against what you want to do, then you're in the wrong place. Simple as that. But I'm not going to try to change your mind. Why would I? Why would I? Why would I want to work that hard? I want to help if I can. I want to show you an example that it does work if I can. But well, Rumble tells me that I'm live. Hey, thank you, Rumble. Very nice of you to let me know. Let's see what's going on here. I am live on YouTube. Am I live on Rumble? Yes, and in the Rumble chat, we have Mike Seeley from Tampa was first in. We have Gary Noslow. Good morning. Is it Friday yet, he says. Not yet. Soon. Soon, tomorrow, Friday, the 28th of February, the end of the month. And good morning, Rod Weeder over in the Rumble chat. Good to see you, my friend. He said, good morning, folks. He said, good morning to everybody. That's great. That's great. I think that I'm going to put my Buy Me a Coffee link in there to remind you that keeps me going, guys. If you want to help out, that's the best way for you to do it for me. Thank you so much. That's all. That's all I'm going to say about that. Shameless plug. I'm sorry, I am shameless. I understand. I know. Rabbi Susie's here with us. Good morning to you. And I'm looking for some questions. Maybe it won't be a 2-hour stream today. That's a lot of streaming, and we've got a live stream tonight. The private community does. So, but you guys certainly know how to fill up chat. That's for sure. You know how to fill up chat. And in order for me to get those questions, I have to scroll through it. And let me show you. See if I can bring this up here. So you can follow along with me what I do. Well, this is where I'm scrolling right here. Can you see it behind me? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this whole window. Whoops, it's not that window. It's this window. I'm going to move it over so you can see. Ha! Look at me and my beautiful face there behind me. And what that is behind me is a window where I can actually look at the actual live feed, you see, of with a delay of about 10 seconds that you guys are seeing on YouTube, with the real chat running over there. And I see Louis L. has asked me a question. What are you having for dinner today? I'm going to have ground beef patties today, Louis. I'm going to have bacon and eggs for lunch. But at any rate, let me show you what I do. So I sit here and I look at this big window And in this part of the window, it shows me what's being broadcast out over StreamYard. And as you can see, I'm broadcasting the picture of that you see on your screen. And over on the right side is the YouTube chat that StreamYard presents to me, where I can click, like CB Carmack there, you see, click on his entry and have it show up on the screen. And CB says, I can wear a wig tonight and put on makeup if it helps. That would be a little strange, CB, but love to see you in there tonight. But you don't need to, hopefully we'll have some women there. Yeah, I'm serious. But this is what I do. So I look for the QQQs here as I scroll down, and I usually scroll down about this fast, and I can pick up any QQQ, and I can speed read enough to almost read everything as it goes by at this speed. And if I see a comment that is something that I think is, it might be fun to talk about, I'll click on it. But it can take me 2 hours to go by. Good morning, Steve McAvoy. See, here's QQQ. I found one. And it says, Target Prime Mitch, did you have to scramble around the kitchen or were you just egging us on, Mitch? I was just egging you on the other day, yesterday, Thomas. Wow, between you and Gary Noslow, we got a comedians union in the chat. You guys are, yeah, you're clever. And I love it, and don't stop doing it. That's great. So this is what I do. I just scroll down like this. Here's Booby Goats. Erin asks a question, and her question is, you should just make videos titled, Old Man Hermit, YouTube may push it out. You know, that's true. Okay, so let me put my screen back the way it belongs. And let me go back to where you can see my pretty face. But now I've shown you what I'm doing here. And back to me. But now you see what I do. I sit here and I scroll at about that speed through the chat to look for the questions. And that's the best I can do. And usually if I do it long enough and don't bore the hell out of you, we get through this, hopefully in less than 2 hours. But I'm up to 10:02 in the chat, so I'm only about 10 minutes behind. So I've caught up in a hurry. B-Matt is here. Hiya, Matt. How you doing? Good to see you. Lewis is chatting away. Deborah Wisegal's here this morning. How are you? Good to see you. And I think I got a text from somebody. Oh, imagine that. I got a text. It says, hi, Michael. Spelled M-Y-K-E-L. Orlando Health wants to know how we did. Please leave Orlando Health, Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children Emergency Room, a Google review by clicking this link. How many of you think I should click on that link? Okay, how do I block and report spam? Report spam and block. Yes. That, my friends, is a phishing spam text. Obviously. Clicking on that link could probably destroy my cell phone. Install every kind of keystroke monitor, virus, and everything else. We have to be so careful. We are attacked. We are attacked every day with people thieves and whores trying to steal from us, hurt us, ruin our lives. I think, at times I think that 70% of the human population are scumbags. And the rest of us try to be decent, have to constantly figure out how to navigate through them and defend ourselves from all of this stuff. I don't know how many of those things you get, but I get them all day long on my phone. So many of them even in the guise of sponsorship requests on my YouTube channel. It's ridiculous. Here's where Louis L. asked me what I'm having for dinner. Deborah Weisgau says, I have a hard time getting enough fat. Any suggestions? Eat more eggs, number one. An egg is 50% fat. That's just, and cholesterol. It just is. You can't help. You can't help it. You can't. And if you cook your eggs somehow in fat, like I do in bacon grease, I add a little more fat to the egg. So I know I'm getting the correct ratio, and it's 50% by weight. Probably more like 70 or plus % by calories. It's still very confusing, sometimes even to me. But it's the right ratio, and the fat to protein ratio will usually be about correct when you eat foods as they come in nature. The problem is, and even it's my problem too, is when I sit down with a prime rib, I don't like to just eat those big chunks of fat. I don't find it appetizing. So I tend to trim a lot of it away, and so I might douse that whole mess in butter. If you don't think you're getting enough fat, and there's a way to tell, and we talk about it, and it involves bathroom talk. Can't help it. But if you're constipated, you're not getting enough fat. If you've got diarrhea, you're getting too much fat. And anywhere in between is a gauge. So if you need to increase fat, there's some things you can do. You can make fat bombs out of your coffee. You can throw a big hunk of butter in your coffee. It's delicious. You can put heavy whipping cream. Just don't put sugar. Don't put milk or anything that contains lactose. Go for the high-fat stuff. You can put that in your coffee. There are so many people that tell you to buy the MCT oils and the exogenous ketones and all that stuff. I would stay away from that, but natural foods that contain fat, like high-fat dairy, which is butter, ghee, heavy whipping cream, they're fine. Throw them in your coffee. Cook your meals in fat. When I cook burgers, when I cook a burger patty, a lot of the fat renders out into the pan. Well, I put the burger patties on my plate, and I pour all that fat like sauce over the top of it. And it makes it juicy. It makes it more delicious because fat actually is where so much of the flavor lies. So just do what you can to up the fat. And if you've overdone it, you'll have a bathroom adventure and you'll know it. Then you cut back. But if you just try to eat foods the way they come in nature and not manipulate it, you'll probably find that without even trying or thinking about it, you're doing the right thing. Hope that answers that for you. It's very, very simple if you keep it simple. It's easy to overcomplicate, though. All this stuff is so easy to overcomplicate, especially if you watch YouTube, because there's no shortage of people making videos that just overcomplicate everything with the new big thing, the new big discovery, the new big supplement, the new big thing you need to worry about. We can't. We are not built. None of us has the capacity to regulate and monitor our own human physiology. It can't be done unless you lay in a laboratory 24/7 wired up to machines. Who wants to live like that? The best shot, I think, that we have is ignoring 99% of this crap and just focusing on eating the animal products, avoiding the plant products, do some kind of fasting, whether it's intermittent fasting or longer-term fast. I fast every day. I think that one of the greatest things you can do is eat early in the day. And there's a lot of people who disagree with that. Okay, maybe we're all different. But when I go to bed at night, I don't want to be digesting anything because I want to sleep soundly. I want my body to go into autophagy. Autophagy takes energy. Digestion takes energy. Everything takes energy. When you're sleeping, you're not using energy to move around. You're not exercising. You're not hardly doing anything. Why waste all that energy digesting food when it could be better used to heal and rebuild so much of your body that's been damaged? That's my theory. Call it a theory. Call it a hypothesis. That's all we can have. That's all we can have. Jemmett says, Mitch, why not just go to the bottom of the chat as is current and then scroll up? I tried that a couple times, but I miss all the stuff in between. And that's like jumping to the front of the line. Somebody may have asked the question and is sitting waiting for me to get to it. If I go to the bottom of the chat, I have thrown them to the back of the line again because now I got to go all the way up to get to their question. So I think that this may be the best. This may be the best way. Maybe the best way. And if I ever find somebody like Alia that wants to work as hard for me as she does for Kilts, but wants to do it for free and wants to, and even she is not there every day. But unfortunately, in order to do like, and even Ken Berry misses questions, and Anthony Chafee misses, even if they come in on Super Chats, you just can't answer them all. Because I know that Anthony Chafee is the king of being guilty of taking a half an hour to answer a single question. Well, you can't help but get behind if you're doing that. But we're here every day. Every day. And just by the end of the chat, I'll get to it. I'll see every QQQ. I will. And if you're not here when I answered it, you can find the replay and go skip around in it until you see where maybe I got to your question. Thomas, the comedian, says, I asked the question earlier, but I don't remember what it was. Well, Thomas, I saw your question and I forgot where it was, and I answered it, but I forgot the answer that I gave you. So ask it again. And we have Maury James here. How you doing, Maury? Good to see you from Calgary. Good to see you. Here's a question from Karen White. Hello from Canada. Do you ever get muscle cramps at this stage of your life's carnivore journey? You bet your ass I do. Everybody does. Only at night and only in my calves. I don't get cramps in my hands. I don't get cramps anywhere. That is a sure sign that I probably need to start drinking a little bit more electrolytes. And that's always what fixes it. So yeah, cramps are, as we get older, I don't think it has anything to do with carnivore at all. I think it's just when you get older, things happen to you. I think getting cramps, being subject to cramps is one of them. Good question, though. Yeah, and I think that we're deluding ourselves if we think we don't need to supplement electrolytes. Not with the current state of the food supply. Not with the current state of the food supply. Lori, QQQ Mitch, mind if I pet the monkey? I don't have the monkey out here on this computer. Sorry. Sorry, but you can do that anytime you'd like. But tonight on my live stream, I don't know if I'm going to do it out here or do it inside. I haven't decided yet. I may just do it out here tonight. We'll see. We will see. But if I do it inside, I will bring Spanky in for a visit. Or I could go ahead and add it to this setup I have out here. But some of those little special effects take some time to really set up. And I've got out here on the porch kind of the bare basics of what it takes to do a pretty good live stream and have some flexibility in different scenes and capabilities to have good quality video and audio, which to me is very, very important, to not have to listen or look at a bad, blurry picture or listen to audio that sounds like it's being done from the bottom of the Grand Canyon and or just on a cell phone. And it does take equipment. It takes this kind of stuff right here. It takes this kind of setup. I like it because it has buttons. Like that button right there that plays some happy music. How cool is that? And I have meters. See the meters bouncing up and down? That tells me if my volume levels going out are pretty good. And this is the volume level here for the microphone. And this one over here is the volume level for the music, controlled by this slider. And I've got all kinds of dials and touch screens, and it's really cool. But this stuff isn't cheap. And this is what you need. This is what you need to try to put on a decent live stream. And make up for the fact that maybe you don't have as much talent as an entertainer. So you find some other way. Gary from Delaware. Hiya, Gary. How the hell are you, man? Question. Hi, Mitch. How about more Mitch in the Kitch shows? You know, I could do that, but I'm just afraid they would get boring. I have to have a subject to talk about while I cook. The cooking has to be kind of a visual thing so that it's not just a talking head sitting there, because most videos are just talking heads. Come up with something you want to say, and you sit down and you point a camera or a cell phone at you, and you just start talking. And that doesn't provide much visual interest. But running around and going back and forth to the refrigerator and editing it so that when I'm flipping the bacon, I focus on the bacon. When I'm pouring the eggs, I focus. When I'm beating eggs, I play some happy music. Trying to make it entertaining at least makes people, I think, stick around more than the 15 seconds of a video that most people normally watch before they click away. That's just YouTube. That's just YouTube. So yeah, I'll try to do some more of that stuff, but I have to have something to talk about, or else it's just going to get boring, and you're just going to say, oh God, no, he's not in that kitchen again, is he? Because even the best entertainment, sometimes, even the best TV shows, even the Seinfelds, finally run their course and people stop watching. That's just how it works. DS111 asks me, I'm having a hard time getting enough women. Any suggestions? You're asking the wrong guy. You're asking the wrong guy. I'm sorry. I feel for you. I feel for you, my friend, but you're asking the wrong guy here. Yeah, I used to be pretty good in that department. I never had a problem with that. I know but I myself am not willing to pay the price of it. And I don't mean when I say pay the price, I'm not talking about hookers. I'm talking about the price of trying to be in a emotionally, as a feeling human being with a conscience, the concern for your partner, the concern for their happiness, the goal to make sure that every one of their needs is satisfied. I've always found after time that in order to do that, I had to sacrifice virtually everything that I needed, and I became a slave to the relationship or the family and children and animals and every other kind of problem that relationship brought into my life that wasn't my problem. So I don't do it anymore. I can't help you. You reach a certain point in life where your situation is what it is. If I was still married to a woman that I met in high school, I'd probably be the happiest guy on the planet. But it didn't work out for me. It doesn't work out for most of us. It doesn't work out for most of us. And even when we look at couples and we think how happy they are, we don't know. We're not a fly on the wall. We don't know the turmoil and the stress, disappointments, and anger that actually exist as they put on this show for the public. Jemmet, Old Guy Carnivore, are you still thinking of changing your name from Old Guy Carnivore? Maybe Mitch and Mitch Fits or Mitch Music? No, I'm going to stick with it. Changing a YouTube channel name is always a very serious decision. It took me a long time to give up the Old Guy in a Drone one that I had for so many years and become Old Guy Carnivore. And that was necessitated by the fact that the whole drone thing got ruined. And it wasn't worth doing anymore. Do you know that the FAA fined a drone YouTuber who had a channel called Philly Drone Life? His name was Mikey. Mikey flew drones all over Philadelphia, filmed those beautiful buildings. He was a hell of a drone pilot, a good photographer. In the process, he may have broken a few little drone rules. Well, when the FAA came in and started regulating, all this drone stuff, some people actually complained to the FAA that they don't like Mikey because he was a strange personality, and he was a real entertainer, too. And he was broke. He lived in a poor section of South Philly. He had nothing to his name. But he was able to scrape together enough money to buy a drone, start a YouTube channel, and he became popular because he was such a good entertainer. And his videos that he took, his channel's gone now because he had to take it down. He had to delete it because that was part of his settlement with the FAA. He also had to give up all the drones that he had to turn them over to the FAA because they say that he flew over people at certain times or busted the 400-foot minimum. He didn't do anything really but any other drone pilot did. But whatever he did, he put out on YouTube, so it was pretty hard to say, no, I didn't do it. Sit down, folks. The FAA sent Michael a letter saying that he owed them $182,000 in fines. And they documented every one of his videos. Like they did with Trump when they charged him with 39 counts of this, 57 counts of that. Well, that's what the FAA did. And that controversy about the FAA versus Mikey went on and on and on and on. And it was a drama on the drone community and YouTube until just recently when he finally settled with them, turned over his drones, swore he would never fly a drone again. He would never make a YouTube video again. He would delete his YouTube channel. He would disappear into the sunset, never to be heard from again. And it's tyranny. It was tyranny. And they made an example out of Mikey. And it was that example and that kind of turmoil in the drone thing that I said, I am not going to risk my entire life if somebody decides they don't like Mitch. So look, it's like a kid turning their parents over to child services as a threat, making claims. My parents beat me when they don't because you didn't like the fact that they wouldn't let you have your candy. Falsely accusing anybody of anything is a bigger crime than anything you might accuse them of. Falsely accusing people and reporting them to the system in any way is, as far as I'm concerned, the most unconscionable thing one human being can do, and it's done all the time. And people use these different agencies to try to get even with people. And I couldn't be in the drone community anymore with the threat that somebody maybe didn't like my bald head or something and filed a complaint with me because they think maybe in one of my videos where I was flying my drone, I wandered 2 feet outside of a particular boundary, arbitrary boundary. That threat was real and it was happening, and the same miserable people that create so much misery for all of us were just destroying people's lives who were trying to just be entertaining and have a YouTube channel. Maybe that's why I'm so paranoid about any liability that I might incur here talking about carnivore. Why I'm so vigilant about what is said by who in my chats, because ultimately I can be held responsible for that, and I have to police that. Why I work so hard not to give medical advice one-on-one, not to risk somebody saying that I'm practicing medicine without a license, that I'm giving advice like don't take statins. I have never given anybody that advice. And I tell this every day in my disclaimer, all I ever do is say, I don't take statins. That's my decision. Don't you make that decision for yourself until you do the research and learn what I've learned. And don't take my word for it. That limits what I can do here on YouTube. I don't want to be considered an expert. I want to be considered a thinker. Somebody that has insights, that ferrets out root causes and ancient reasons why we're held hostage and slaves to the addictions that keep us from succeeding at this lifestyle. I think that is one of the most important things that I can do from my perspective and what I believe and what my opinions are. But I do not want anybody to say to anybody else, well, Mitch told me not to take statins, so I didn't, and I had a heart attack, and now I'm hiring all the lawyers in the world that want to sue them. And that's why I stay broke, my friends. I stay broke on purpose so that I've got nothing for anybody to chase after anymore. That was the story of my life. And for what I have left of my life, I don't want to have to spend it defending lawsuits. Don't want to have to spend my life spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on lawyers because somebody thinks I somehow harmed them. So it's a fine line. It's a fine line. And it's why I read, believe it or not, I read every entry in the chat every day. And if I think there's an entry, somebody speaking misinformation in my chat or giving advice in my chat that's dangerous, I'll remove it. I'll remove it. Sorry. Nothing personal. I'll remove it. And if it keeps getting bad, I'll remove the user because I just can't have it. I can't risk. I cannot risk the potential liability of becoming Mikey and having some overzealous prosecutor somewhere decide that what I did was criminal and decide they're going to use me to further their political career and be a hero. It's a hard world. The smartest thing for anybody like me to do is just hide. Just become a, non-thing. Don't put yourself out there. But I don't want to do that. I can help people. I know it. I figured it out. And I try to help. And there's a few people that come in here, 125 of you now. Thomas says, Burry's missed many. How the hell can Ken Burry answer all those questions? He's got thousands of viewers. I got 100 and something viewers. I have a hard time keeping up with it. And all of his viewers put the questions on super chats and throw money at the guy. Why? I love Ken Burry. I think he's done so many fabulous and great things for this community. But how many times can you tell somebody just eat meat? Eat a proper human diet. It is the prescription for frigging everything. That's the only answer he can legally give. He cannot give medical advice, even though you put it on a super chat. When you go on to Ken Berry's channel and say, my cholesterol is this, my sugar is that, my insulin is the other thing, what do you think is wrong with me? He cannot legally, ethically, give you any medical advice. He's not your doctor. And by doing it, if he even comes close to trying to give you that kind of advice, and somebody makes a complaint to him, to the authorities or the medical boards, his life could be ruined. Is it worth the risk? He wants to do good. I want to do good. We all do. But how much exposure are we willing to have to this world of evil people that want to take everything you have away from you for any excuse? And if you don't believe there are those kinds of people, turn on the morning news and watch these whore lawyers that advertise and show people with lottery-sized checks. It's a disgusting world, my friends. I try to focus on some of the good things. Sometimes it's hard to get past all that bad things. Pat Ramirez says that I drink too much coffee, I get cramps. That's interesting. That's interesting. Let's see where I am in the chat. 10:24. Not too bad, about 20 minutes behind. I'll keep going here looking for questions. Rick, here's some cues. Does your headphones monitor your real-time output as a loopback from StreamYard? No, it's plugged into my mixer, Rick. If I loop back from StreamYard, I'd hear a hell of an echo in my headphones. No, what I'm monitoring in my headphones is what's coming from my mixer before it goes to StreamYard. So it is real time. I hear my own voice in my headphones real time. When I play music or sound effects, anything I do, I hear real time. Now, when I have a guest on the show, when I do a panel, that audio comes from StreamYard and is mixed. And it comes to me on a separate channel and a separate slider on my mixer. I can control the volume of it in my headphones, but I can't control the volume of my guests going out on StreamYard, which is why sometimes I have to ask people to turn their mic up or down a little bit. I have no control over that. StreamYard does the mixing of all the audio, and they do it with very, very little delay, almost no delay, which makes it real time, in essence. Hope that answers that question. A little technical question this morning, and I know Rick is a very technical guy, and I don't know what this is. Aaron, I saw Dave Mack had a show with Kip's name in it, and then it disappeared. I'm not surprised. No comment. No comment on that particular subject. I try to be kind. Honestly, I want to be kind. I want everybody to know Mitch is a good guy. Doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I really don't. I go so far out of my way to go, I tell you, I speak what's on my mind, but I draw the line when that would really hurt somebody, and especially somebody nice that means well. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. Try to figure out a way to work it out. Target prime rib. See, we're talking about Kip. I had a conversation with my buddy Jonathan. You know what? I got 132 of you. I guess I can afford to lose 10 or 20 of you if you can't take it. Excuse me. Oh, I light up this cigar so I can relax and get philosophical a little bit. Just once, I'd like to see my viewer count go up when I light up my cigar. Thank you. It is a glorious day after all. And this makes it more glorious for me. Yes, sir. Look. My viewer count didn't go down. Maybe they left early in anticipation of the horrible deed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, my friends, for being non-judgmental and accepting the fact that I'm smart enough to know that this is not hurting me. And I know why it's not hurting me. It's helping me. I do this and I view it as a benefit to my health. Period. That's my opinion. You may not agree. You may not agree. And as long as I'm not blowing this smoke in your face, I shouldn't be offending you. And if somebody was blowing cigarette smoke in my face, I would be offended and probably leave and find someplace where they weren't. That's called consideration. And until YouTube can broadcast this cigar aroma, which a lot of you would really enjoy, I think, I'm going to do it. And allow you to see what a content old man looks like. Something I'm sure most of you aspire when you get to be my age. You want to be content, if nothing else. That's what's important. Everybody's talking about, see, that's what happens when you start talking about Kip. I don't want to talk about Kip. I don't know the guy. I don't like him, dislike him. There's things about certain YouTubers I dislike, certain practices, and I put people in categories like everybody else. I was talking to Jonathan, my buddy Jonathan up in Alaska. Every Wednesday night we have like a Zoom call together. We sit for an hour and a half, talk about life. He's much younger than I am. He's younger than my son. But we get along and we become great friends. And every Wednesday, it's kind of like I seem to have become his consigliere. He you know, and we talk about, he's a big YouTuber. His channel's 10 times the size of mine. So we talk about YouTube and the struggles and the different things, and I can open up to him and kind of vent a little bit. I can vent, which is great for me, to not have to censor what I say so as not to hurt. I can talk to him about the things that bother me. And one of the things that came around was the subject of Kip. And he didn't know who Kip was. So I told him who Kip was. And he went and, while we were online, he looked up Kip's channel and he started reading off the titles of his videos. And every one of them was clickbait. Every one of them was poor me, I did this, poor me, help me, give me, send me. He says, wow, Mitch, this is incredible. And yet the guy, people feel sorry for him. I don't want to be involved in him. I don't want him mentioned on my channel. I don't want to talk about opinions. I can't stop you guys from doing it. But you want to know about him, just go to his channel. Look at the titles on his videos one after another. And figure it out for yourself. I don't want to hurt the guy's feelings. He's been in my chat. He's come in here a few times. I don't know why. Furrow Grandma, give me a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's going by on the screen right there. See where the big blue blob is? That's how come I can't miss super chats. YouTube will not let me. And it's from the Furrow Grandma, and she says, I like Arturo Fuentes, but more likely to actually have a flavored Tatiana. Okay, I'm not much for flavored cigars, but I understand that a lot of people like them because they have a nicer aroma. The flavor that you actually get when you smoke a flavored cigar, you really don't even notice the flavor too much. But thank you. Thank you. Grandma, very, very nice of you. Very nice of you. I appreciate that. And a lot of conversation about Kip. Let me see if I can get past all of that. Pred plates. Pred plates. Oh, a very muscular looking guy, according to his little, never saw him before. Welcome, my friend. Women want men to put them in their place. They won't ever say this, but they hate when men are too nice and never stand up for themselves. Also, why are men becoming more feminine than women in 2025? Wow. Woo! Holy cow. Let me just not touch that with a 10-foot pole, if that's okay with you. And you are certainly welcome to express your opinion here. And I am not going into that conversation. Sorry. Thomas says he gave up asking Ken Berry questions. Yeah, it is. He can't. He just, there's only so much time, and he sticks to an hour. Have you noticed that? I mean, especially when Nisha's there, man. Nisha will not allow him to go 2 seconds over. This is an hour, and that's it. And we're not giving these people any more. We have things to do, kids to feed, chickens to feed. I can't believe how busy those two are and everything that they're in. They're building a house on top of everything else. Wow. God, I am so thankful for my simple life, where my biggest challenge is, can I get some decent eggs today? Oh, God, it is great. Life is good for me. Would I have been younger, happy with this kind of a lifestyle? No, I couldn't have been. I had too much to experience yet. The only good thing I could say about my ridiculous life was that there's nothing that I wanted to do that I didn't do. Honestly, there's nothing that I wanted to own that I hadn't owned. My been there, done that list is 100% full. I have no bucket list. There's nothing left in my life that I feel the need to make my life complete. That's a very, very, very nice, relaxed, and happy place to be. But we can't all do that. And I don't think I could have done it either if I was younger. And most people my age are either not in physical condition to do all the things that they had planned to do in retirement, and finally saved up enough money and can afford to do these things, but are physically hardly able to get out of bed. That's sad. That's even worse. And it is sad. And it is sad. So I'm glad that, and my philosophy in life, I knew when I spent money, oh, you don't need to spend money on this. This is a waste of money. No, but it's an experience and you only live once. That was my philosophy. You only live once. And I friggin' lived. I lived the life that people simply dream about. If I only had that, I could be happy. If I only could do that, I'd be happy. Well, I did it and had it all. And as usual, I lost it all. And had it again and lost it again and had it again and lost it again. And what did I gain from all that? I gained wisdom. I gained a grasp of reality. I learned what motivates people. I learned how to stay out of the way of the lunatics, how to try to get them out of my life if I think they're a potential threat to me in any way, whether they intended to or not. And I just want to I want it simple. And bringing that desire to this carnivore lifestyle turned out, whether accidentally or not, to be the biggest secret of how to do it successfully. Ignore all the noise. Keep it simple. Trust your biology. And that's the message I give here every day in Carboholics Anonymous, Melbourne chapter or YouTube chapter. And I'm still going through the chat here looking for some questions, and look at all the people talking. And I have 135 people here yet. Super. Super. I wonder how Kilsey's doing down there in Mexico. I wonder if he drank the water yet. Oh, cigars are better than Xanax, says Terry Sue. You have got that right. This not only does better in results than a Xanax, it's less harmful. Xanax would not relax me like this does. I hope that just watching me use this cigar as a prop, try to be George Burns, reincarnate here. Whether it's even burning anymore or not, doesn't matter. And it's out. But that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Yes, I agree. And I thank you guys for... You didn't disappear today. That was great. That was great. Polish Mike is pontificating here. And many people fall for it and tell them that's okay to fail as long as you get back up. Yes, one time is okay, but you learn from the past and should not. Yes, Mike, very, very astute. I know what you're talking about. I thought we were past that discussion, but that's okay because what you said is true. It's not okay to fail if you want to be a carnivore. You can't help but fail. You can't help. Everybody is going to fall off the wagon. But there comes a point where if the normal day-to-day or week-to-week experience that you have is continually falling off that wagon, put your seatbelt on, man. Figure out a way to stay on the wagon or give it up. And if you can't give it up, stop whining about it and asking for help from everybody to send you stuff that you need because poor you. That's, I agree, Mike. I agree. That's the old, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. They don't fool me anymore because I understand just exactly what they're playing at. But yeah, you guys are still talking about them, and you're still discussing the whys of it, and it's a futile discussion because it is what it is. None of us can fix it. He's not going to take any our advice because that's not what he does. Lewis says, I'm a member of Dr. Burry's community. That's the only way I can get access to him and to ask my questions. Yeah, well, he's got it set up that way on purpose, of course. Of course. And he's got coaches, and his coaches are all in business for themselves and will sell you an hour of their time for, what, $50, $100? It's even in people that want to do good. It's still about money. Nobody works for free, except me sometimes. But that's okay. I'm old. I'm not supposed to be working at my age. I'm supposed to be enjoying life. I can't enjoy life unless I'm working, so it's a conundrum. There's that word again. I love it. I'm stuck with it. But yeah, and I don't envy Ken Berry his life, but I admire him because he was a doctor that woke up. That took a lot of guts. Went against the bullshit he'd been taught. Accepted reality. Started studying. And this is the interesting part. He is an incredibly religious man. And yet he is a follower and believer of evolution in every way. Because that is reality. And he has found a way to reconcile that with his religion. And I would love to see everybody figure out a way to reconcile the reality of science with the dogma and principles of the religion that they particularly follow. And there are so many of them, how do you know which one to follow anymore? I don't know. I have my own religion, I told you. I may be a church of one. The name of my religion is realism. It ends with ism. It's a religion. Realism. That's what I believe. And part of realism is that we're sitting on a ball of rock that came from somewhere and over billions of years became what it is today. Life erupted here, not 6,000 years ago, not 10,000 years ago, but between 2 and 3 billion years ago, and we have evidence of that. And the better our science is, the more evidence we find. And we have fields of archaeology, anthropology, evolutionary biology. We know the geology of the different weather patterns and mass changes in land masses and the shift from a one continent world to what we have today by tectonic plate movement. We have evidence of all that. We find that evidence by drilling cores down deep because the entire surface of the Earth is deposited in layers over time. We know exactly when that asteroid 65 million years ago hit because there is evidence of it in a layer that covers the entire globe. A layer of iridium, which is a rare mineral that came from that asteroid, and in the ensuing global nuclear type winter that encircled the entire planet for years, a layer of iridium was deposited on every square inch of the planet. And if you dig down through the layers anywhere on planet Earth and get down to the place that was on the surface at that particular time, 65 million years ago, you will detect a big spike in iridium. And that layer that surrounds the Earth has a name. It's called the KT boundary. And if you want to see the story of it, it's fabulously fascinating. The KT boundary. And why they used K instead of C, I'll never know, but it stands for the Cretaceous Tertiary boundary. The end of the Cretaceous. The end of the dinosaurs. The beginning of the next eon. The next period. Called the Tertiary. And that was the beginning of the rise of the mammals that could now survive without the predatory dinosaurs, keeping them as tiny little rodents. And our ancestors are all, we don't want to talk about this and it doesn't fit in with our religions, but our ancestors that we come from, that all mammals come from today, are the shrew-sized rodents that actually survived the Holocaust of that asteroid 65 million years ago. And that's a fact. And we can go back into genetics and we can go back into physiology and see how it developed from that. And that is the science that I study and read and find so fascinating and talk about. And the answers to why we behave the way we do, why we're addicts, all lie in that science. And it's real. It's not a theory it is provable. And every year as our science improves and advances, it becomes more provable. Wow, I don't know why I got a tickle in my throat. Maybe it's a cigar. It's possible. It's possible. Let me douse it with a little carnivore champagne, my friends. San Pellegrino. Okay. CB's complimenting Lewis as Lewis, you're a natural. Yes. Thomas joined the Kilt's mighty tribe. Yeah, Kiltsy does some, he spends a lot of money to help people out. He's got it. It's great. I guarantee you, if I was in a position to do it, I would spend it too to help you guys. What else is it for? Unfortunately, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I'm going down the chat, 10:56. I'm almost caught up. Look at that. Been at it for over an hour and a half today. Time really flies. It's beautiful in here. It's nice and warm. Nice and warm. It's great. Life is good. Life is good. Carnivore. Oh, bread plates, you're coming on here. I'm not even going to put that on the screen. Challenging evolution and all the evidence. I'm sorry, my friend. I won't debate that with you. You believe what you want to believe, honestly. You believe exactly what you want to believe, and I will not try to change your mind. You be happy in your beliefs, my friend. And if you want to try to change other people's minds, you can feel free to do it. You will never change my mind, unfortunately. Now we're preaching the Bible. Pred Plates is preaching the Bible in my chat. Well, I'm sorry, my friend. This is not the place for that. This isn't the place for that. I'll let everybody read your chats. I'm not going to hide you. But I'm telling you, this is not the place. This is not a church. It really isn't, my friend. So please, please, give me the respect. Give me the respect of not trying to commandeer the conversation here so you can inject your ideology, which so clearly is not my ideology. Start your YouTube channel yourself, my friend. No hard feelings. No hard feelings, but you're just in the wrong place. And I got to the end of the chat, my friends. So with that, and people are interacting with him. And I don't want to start. I just don't want to see the conversation here on my channel get into a debate between church, science and church. I don't want to see it. I don't think there's any conflict whatsoever, honest to God. Neither did the Pope in 1976 when he decreed that the Catholic Church finds nothing in the theory of evolution that conflicts with the Bible in any way. There's too many friggin' stories, my friends. And all those stories are like in the last instant of geologic time. Everything that happened long before the stories came along. Happened long before the language, the communication to be able to propagate those stories came along. That is just the last second of geological time. All these stories came along. And it does not negate the reality of what happened in the billions of years before. I don't care what your story is. It's a story, a narrative. And this is not the place to try to convince me or become a preacher. So, respect my house if you would, my friends. And if you don't like what's being said in my house, don't come into my house. Invite people to your house, where you have the right to say or preach anything you want. That's just common courtesy and decency. Something. Oh, so now he's saying to me that So he doesn't like double opinions that don't agree with him. Sorry, bye. Yes, my friend. The operative word there is bye. Because don't come in here when I'm trying to be nice to you, my friend. When I'm trying to be nice to you, give you the benefit of your doubt, and then come back and tell me what's wrong with me. I can't and won't tolerate disrespect in that manner. Not when I try not to hurt people's feelings. Try to give everybody a graceful way to believe what they want to believe. No good deed goes unpunished, and you look that up in a dictionary, and there's my picture as a prime example of someone that's trying to live and not hurt anybody's feelings, that's always being blamed for every friggin' thing. And I was so happy today before that, and that ruined my morning. I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't let it. I've been fighting that prejudice of the religious all my life. It never stops and it never will. Mike Allen says, absolutely spot on, Mitch. It's all about being respectful. It is. Yes, it is. Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much. Am I supposed to sit here and allow somebody to come into my house as my guest and insult me? Where is it written that that's proper decorum, that I should have to endure that in public in front of all of you? I shouldn't have to. I give that respect to everybody that ever comes in contact with me. I give them the freedom to be whoever they want, think whatever they want, preach whatever they want. But I am a king of the castle kind of a guy, and I say to myself, this is my house, my effort, my work, my story. How dare you come in here and insult me with your narratives and your stories? You're free to start your own YouTube channel. How many times have you heard that from me? If you want to be the big man on campus here, the world's final authority, do it somewhere else, please. Melly M, how you doing? Hello, YouTube recommended this channel to me. Wow. Yeah, you come in? This channel sometimes has a little drama in it, but, oh, I like that. Thank you. You've been watching my videos, OldGuyCarnivore. Love how calm, informative, and just plain real your videos are. Thank you. I appreciate it. Melly, thank you so much for that. And that is a happy, positive note for me to end this live stream. Here's Aunt B. God, I love you, B. I love you, and you know I respect you. And she says, the Furrow Grandma, Jesus Christ is my Lord, Savior, and Mitch, OldGuyCarnivore, has never disrespected me for my beliefs. I'm not pushing my feelings on him. He doesn't push me. I love Mitch. Thank you, and I love you, B. And I have said this about deeply religious people all my life, and I mean it. I mean it, and I say it with all due respect to everybody. And it's why I don't try to talk anybody out of it or try to make a case and prove them wrong. I say to them, I envy the comfort you get from your beliefs and wish there was some way I could also have that. But I can't. My mind doesn't work that way. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you or me, because there is only one story, one real story. There are an infinite number of versions of this one story, but when you put them all together, we're all here, and one of those versions of that story had to have happened or we wouldn't be here. And I just allow anybody to have or believe whatever story they want. And don't try to inject my judgment on whether I think they're intelligent or not, because I understand how the human brain works and I understand the science of ideology better than most. And that allows me to still love people and accept everybody, even if we disagree on some of the most basic, fundamental things. We still have more in common as human beings than we have differences because of things like politics or religion. I try to live my life that way. And if that's not good enough for some people who feel the need to come in here to tell me I'm wrong or comment on my videos to tell me what a heathen and heretic I am and how I'm going to burn in hell and all that other stuff, I just have to just click the button and hide you and hope you find somewhere else where people will maybe accept your particular way of doing things and interacting with other human beings a little better than I have the ability to do. C.B. Carmack. No one outside of church on Sunday or Wednesday cares what others believe. There's only love and respect for humanity. C.B., that's why I love you, man. That's why I respect your intelligence as much as I do. And why I'm so proud to have you as a member of this community and call you a friend. And on that note, which is kind of a happy note, I'm going to call it a morning. I'm going to take the day. I'm going to have myself some bacon and eggs. Been at this for 1 hour and 46 minutes and 40 seconds. Wow. Where did the time go? Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming in. You guys can feel like you're welcome here because you are. Because you are. And you can feel free to say anything that you want, as long as you don't spew obvious, dangerous misinformation and medical advice, or constantly want to debate and argue with me and find fault with me. I just can't tolerate that in my house. That's the one power that I still have as a human being, is to choose who I let into my house. And this is my house. This is my house. I don't want to lock the doors to the world of my house. I want to keep it open and have my friends over. So with that, my friends, enough of that kind of talk. It's a gorgeous day. It's going to be warm. Stay active. Stay active. I will be back tomorrow morning, Friday morning, the last day of February at 9:30 a.m., and we'll do more of the same. Save up your questions. Go ahead and take a couple minutes to say your goodbyes in the chat. I will relight my cigar because it's too late to scare you all away anyway. Didn't smoke very much of this cigar today. That's okay. Enjoy the happy music while you're saying goodbye. And Bob Black says goodbye. Smoothie 420 says goodbye. Gemmet 48, Claudia Burke, Lat, Terry, Sue, Scotty, Bryce Hatch, Mike Seeley Sr. How you doing? Mike says goodbye. Have a good day, everyone. Lewis L. Bye, guys. Might not be with you tomorrow in the office and have meetings. Okay, Lewis. Well, I know we'll see you Sunday at least. People got to work. Drone shots. Jody, good morning, my friend. Good to see you. Better late than never. And Melly M. Tony Tipton. Everybody's got a nice message for each other. Jason H. No Slow. Gary, thanks for coming in, my friend. Aunt B. Sandy Blythe. Thanks for coming in, my friends. I will let the song finish. We'll enjoy the final bit of happy music. Yes, yes, yes. And I will tell you, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.